chip. The cost off chip is still a concern, but it's probably not as much. And as a result, complex algorithms are usually undesirable on chip. Whereas off chip, again, you can have a chip that's doing the routing, right? And logic area constrains the use of wiring resources. In the end, wiring is rich, but you're constrained by area. Okay, let's take a look at other differences very quickly again. In terms of cost, the cost is dominated by channels, pins, connectors, and cables if you have an off-chip network, if you think about it. Whereas on chip, your main cost is really storage and switches. Wires are self-plentiful in general. So the equivalent of pins doesn't exist on chip. So cost of storage, which means that you may be interested in examining more bufferless control mechanisms, right? Or minimizing the buffers as much as possible. So as a result, this leads to networks with many white channels and few buffers on chip. So channel characteristics on chip, yeah, usually have short distance or relatively short distance, so you have lower latency. But you need repeaters, and you can put logic in repeaters. And workloads are very different on chip versus off chip also, right? It depends on what you run also, but usually a good way of thinking about it is you can have multi-core cache traffic versus supercomputer interconnect traffic, right? And how you map the workloads becomes maybe different also. So let me give you some examples, and this also hopefully puts something inside. So this is injection rate over here, the average packet latency, and this is one way of using that performance curve, latency throughput curve, to make trade-offs. Let's say you have an access pattern. Usually your curve looks like this. If you have large buffers, your saturation throughput is high. If you have small buffers, your saturation throughput is low. If your injection rate is low into the network, then you may want to design a network that has small buffers, right? Whereas if you know that your injection rate is going to be very high because you know your traffic patterns, then you may want to design a large buffer. And what is injection rate affected by? Well, your caching efficiency, right? When do you inject into the network? Let's say you have a cache on your core. If you were always sitting in L1 cache, then you're probably not injecting a lot into the network. So maybe your network should be lean. So this kind of system level decisions are important in the end. Okay. The downside of buffers we kind of discussed. Essentially on chip, buffers consume significant energy and power, the dynamic energy as well as static energy, even when not occupied. And you've seen, for example, a lot of the management techniques for buffers, right? They add complexity and latency. You need logic for buffer management, virtual channel allocation, some kind of flow control. And there's more actually. If you design a buffered router, if you look at the micro architecture, there's a lot of complexity in it. And they actually require significant area. So there's one prototype chip actually where input buffers occupy 75% of the cost of total on-chip network area. So this is a paper actually that talks about the design trade-offs of the chip's prototype chip. So the question, one good question to ask is, can you actually go bufferless? Clearly, how much throughput do you lose? How do you affect that latency if you actually reduce the buffers or get rid of all of the buffers? And after what injection rates can you actually use bufferless routing? Are there realistic scenarios in which the network can be operated at injection rates below the threshold? I'm not going to give you answers, by the way. I'm going to point you to papers. But can you achieve energy reduction, actually, if you get rid of buffers? And the paper that I'm going to point you to and we're going to end with actually shows that you can actually get significant energy reduction. And can you reduce area, complexity, etc.? And usually the answers are yes, but of course the downside is you lose the throughput, right? So if you need that throughput, then you need to somehow get it in some other way. Okay, so we can take a look at the paper, and I think I'm going to end here. Well, let me finish with this actually. So this paper is one of the first papers that talk about how to do the routing bufferless in an on-chip network. And I think going forward we'll see that kind of work, but I think going completely buffers is actually a little bit tough. You want some buffering. Okay, so one thing I'm not going to talk about, I'll have the slides up, but packet scheduling. So there are many choices, as you've seen, but one of the choices that you have is packet scheduling. Which packet do you choose for a given output port? We have not discussed that much, right? If you have multiple virtual channels, let's say buffered, or multiple inputs that need to require the outputs, the router needs to prioritize between the competing bits. which input port do you choose, which virtual channel do you choose, which application packet do you choose, even within an application, which thread packet do you choose. So it's a complicated decision. So many existing prototypes or real networks use very simple things. Basically, they round robin across virtual channels. Of course, it's an intelligent round robin. If a virtual channel doesn't have a packet for split, you don't select that because that's not worth conserving, right? Remember the term worth conserving? You never waste bandwidth. You don't pick a virtual channel that's empty. Clearly. So, Elizabeth packet first, usually systems approximate this because, especially in large networks, it's very difficult to track what is oldest, right? First of all, you need to have some sort of synchronization mechanism that gives you a global notion of time. And even that's difficult to begin with if you have a very large network. But usually it's an approximation. For example, when you traverse around the network, you increase the number of hops that you traverse, and if the hop count that you traverse is very high, that may mean you're oldest. That's not really time-wise oldest, but that's traversal-wise oldest. Okay, or you can prioritize some virtual channel over others to provide quality of service. You can have a virtual channel that's higher priority versus lower priority, and you can have latency-sensitive traffic go through the virtual channel that's higher priority, right? So we really want better qualities in a multi-core environment, and you really need to use application characteristics as we discussed, similar to the memory controllers. But I'm going to stop here. If you have interest in this, there's a lot of work in this area, especially recently. How do you do the packet scheduling in an application-aware manner or thread-aware manner, such that you don't delay the threads that are more latency-sensitive? Okay. I think I've covered a lot of networks well. If your brain is not fried, any questions?
How many slides was that?
I don't know. But it's kind of basically, not everything you need to know, but the basics you need to know about an interconnection network, I think. Nothing other microarchitecture. Any thoughts? Yeah.
So you told us that packets get deflected when two different packets from two different directions come in, they get deflected. One of them gets deflected.
If they need to,
my question is,
if they need to take the same output port, yes, you deflect one of them.
Yeah. So my question is, when there's really high traffic, most of the packets that got deflected, it went back and forth until the traffic reduces. So my question is, what happens in that situation? How does the network handle it?
Yeah, exactly. So that's basically leading to the livelock problem that I discussed, right? If you have very high contention, you may end up in a situation where you keep deflecting. And it doesn't need to be between two nodes. It could actually be a more circular pattern. That's called livelock. And you need to have a mechanism to overcome that. For example, if you do oldest first arbitration, you can overcome that. If all the routers ensure that the oldest packet gets its productive output port. If you ensure that oldest packet never gets deflected, you can solve that. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah. I have another question in going forward.
Yeah.
You suggested using virtual channels. So my question is it possible to move the waiting packet or the head of a queue, that is at the head of the queue, to another channel, dynamically making way for the other packets behind it, so that you don't exactly need 4 virtual channels, just two together, and only the one that's getting installed can move to another channel, so that the one behind it can be routed to whatever the direction it needs to go.
Yeah, so I mean, you can come up with solutions like that, sure. Basically, I think what you're suggesting is if you're not able to schedule from a channel, move it somewhere else, right? And that's possible. That increases complexity, right? But it's a viable solution. One thing you could do is actually not move to a different channel, but move to the back of the channel. Back of your own channel that you're currently in, right? Root back, in a sense. But then that leads to other complications, right? You need to have another path to be able to do that.
Yes, yes. I was thinking that maybe there could be two channels in the same particular node, so that whenever there's a storing occurring, we can move it to the second channel. So we don't exactly need 4 channels now. We just use it up. I was thinking if that's a possible solution.
Yeah, I think it's possible. Basically, you're suggesting better ways of utilizing the channels. And that's certainly viable. You could do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. I guess we'll call it a day then. over the years, experience programming knowledge and having more specific attendance to the algorithm. So, what do you teach and the recap for a teacher and data, all of the students that I teach are looking to work how and the following journey, specifically like each effort to your data, going all the way to doing machine learning and predictive models. You're interested in expanding the skill set in information based. However, with the next student that has clear to update the most have terminated over no programming background at all. And those that do have outside programming background typically don't have specifically. One thing that I think is universal is that all the students that attend here have the ability to accept. The thing is, not all of them necessarily working with stuff, but everyone is working with stuff. This is kind of a weird effect that